Hey guys, it's Mrs. Rast here, and today you're going to be taking notes on your own about the Louisiana Purchase using the timeline notes that I have given you as a handout. Now, these notes are set up as Cornell notes in a way. The left side has some key years and events that happened during those years, and they are used to guide you for the right side, which is blank. And just like usual, when something's in red, you're going to write it down. But you're going to kind of put it along with the side that's already been filled out. So it should be explained as we go through, but most importantly, write down the things that are in red, stop, pause, rewind, listen to as needed. Once you get done with the notes, I am going to ask you to summarize them, and then you're going to be gluing them into your notebook, okay? So to start off, we're going to look at the guiding question that's going to see us through the whole unit that we're covering. And so the question is, how does the movement of people affect the political, social, and economic landscape of America? So you need to keep that in mind as you're running through these notes. Okay, so to start off, in 1800, we have a brand new president. Thomas Jefferson becomes the third president of the U.S. in 1801. He is part of the Democrat-Republican Party, and at age 57, he is inaugurated. And he is an anti-federalist. He does not want a strong central government. So some of the key things that he brings to being a president is his laissez-faire approach, which means a hands-off approach to governing. He's going to let things play out. He's not going to be a really strong leader, like maybe a federalist would have. He believes in a strong agrarian or farm society. That was his vision for the United States. He reduces the budget of the federal government. He puts more power in the hands of the states. He lowers taxes, which makes him very popular with the citizens. And he believes that the federal government really doesn't have any powers except what is specifically written in the Constitution. And that may be a bit of a problem as we go through the notes. He was also very informal. He walked to his own inauguration. And when he was in the White House, it was called the Presidential Mansion, and it was not unusual for him to answer the door. So that's probably something that you would not see today. Now, still in the 1800s, people begin to move west. Why? Well, just like the reasons why people move today, for maybe land or a new job, a new adventure, a new opportunity. There are no roads yet at this point, so this is really tough going if you are going by land. People brought prized possessions, which were rifles for defense and for hunting, and for axes for building purposes, to use as a tool and to basically chop their way through any undeveloped land at this point. Now, people are setting up, if you look at the map down here, all in this region up to the Mississippi River. This would have been really considered U.S. land at this point. And as people move west, we're going to see states get invited into the Union and join. But this is pretty much where people stop, which is east of the Mississippi River. All the land out this way is unexplored, uncharted area. People pretty much set up along rivers. They do this because they are farming and they need to move their goods down south to New Orleans, where then things will be shipped off back to Europe for trade. And at this particular time in the 1800s, Spain controls this area. And it's working out pretty well. Spain allows the farmers along the rivers to trade and ship out goods. But in 1802, policy is going to change. New Orleans, which is the center of trade at this point, is going to switch hands from Spain to France. And France is now ruled by the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, which you can see right here. And this really alarms Jefferson. He is not feeling really good about this. He is afraid that U.S. trade is at risk. So he goes to the advisors for Napoleon and offers them $2 million. Now, the $2 million, he wants to buy New Orleans itself and West Florida. So they are not looking at the whole Louisiana territory that we're going to end up with later on. Okay, now Napoleon Bonaparte wants to build an empire. He is headquartered in France. He wants to pretty much dominate Europe. He's gone into Egypt. He tries to go into Russia. He has conquered the island Haiti. And if things had been going smoothly for Napoleon, we probably would have been in trouble, because what he would have done is created a naval base at Santo Domingo on Haiti and maybe decided he would like parts of the United States. But that doesn't happen. Instead, what happens is the Haitians decide to revolt against the French and end up throwing them out of Haiti. France, Napoleon, is also at war with Great Britain, and he has no time for empire building right now. Right now, what he needs is money. And so France comes to the table and they are willing to sell not only New Orleans, but this huge chunk of land. Now, Jefferson is really concerned about this because, remember, he believes that anything not written into the Constitution may not be legal. He could go to Congress to have an amendment passed to allow him to make this purchase, but there's just not enough time. So between himself and his advisors, they decide that he has treaty-making power, which will allow for the executive branch to make this purchase. And $15 million later, he has doubled the size of our holdings of our country. Just a little humor for y'all. Okay, so 1803, the Louisiana Purchase is complete. We have doubled our size. We have no idea what's out there. So this is a really exciting and kind of nerve-wracking time, because now it's time to go out and explore. And so Jefferson asks two men, Meriwether Lewis, who was his private secretary. Lewis asks William Clark, his friend, a lieutenant who served in the Army, to go out and seek some knowledge. And they have a couple of different goals. One of their goals is to find a water route across the land. Ideally, it would go from the east to the west. It was called the Northwest Passage. And they were hoping that if they could find a water route across the land, then they could move quickly across the country, and they could also use this for trade. So this was something that they really hoped that they would be able to find. They also wanted to document new findings. I mean, they have no idea what's out there. And what we're going to find out later on when we talk about Lewis and Clark is they find a number of different types of plants and animals and tribes and all these new things that they didn't even know that were out there. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so about 3 years later in 1806, after making a journey that is over 7,000 miles long, Lewis and Clark and their men, called the Corps of Discovery, return to their starting point, which is in Missouri. And they find a ton of new stuff. They find different animals and plants and languages and tribes and geography and landforms. And they come back and they share what they have found. And so people are very excited about moving west. Plus, the government wants to make it easy for people to move west. They're very interested in settling this area. But that becomes a problem because there's already people living there. There are a ton of Native American tribes that are settled there. Some of them have never even seen Black people or white people. And so this is going to be a huge clash of cultures that in the end is really going to benefit the white settlers and may not work out so well, as we know, and will continue to know as we continue to study this, will not work out so well for the Native Americans. Okay, So if you need to go back to anything, this would be the time to do it. I want you to very quickly review, see what you remember. So what does laissez-faire mean? How would you describe that? It's a French word, and it's something that Thomas Jefferson really thought was important. He had a leave alone or laissez-faire approach to the government. He was not going to be like a sole power. He did not believe in a strong central government. Number 2, what country does Jefferson purchase the Louisiana Territory from? Hopefully you said that he bought the territory from France. Who did Jefferson ask to explore the territory or the Louisiana Purchase? Lewis and Clark were the 2 men that were leading the expedition of the territory. Okay, so to wrap it up, please review your notes. And then what I'd like you to do is pick up a note card from me, put your name on it, and respond to the following question and turn into the homework box. The question is, how does the movement of people affect the landscape of America? So think about that. Politically, what has changed from 1800 to 1806? Maybe you want to think about a new president. Okay, maybe you want to think about how we begin to add land to our union. Socially, think about the interactions between Native Americans and the settlers. Economically, why did we want this purchase? What were they looking for? What were they gaining from it? Okay, so really, I kind of want you to think outside the box while you're using your notes to successfully and fully answer this question. Okay, bye.